So let's say that the ServiceNow is my MSP, right? Or the MSSP, actually, let's say, it doesn't really matter. Now, what happens is that if you're monitoring infrastructure for a lot of clients, you would have tooling set up which would bring alerts directly into ServiceNow and create incidents out of it, right? Now, those incidents need to be transferred over to your clients. Now, for this example, I have one client sitting in a Jira Cloud instance and another client, just for the sake of it, sitting in an Azure DevOps instance, but could be anything really, right? So how do we get started with it? How do we build it? I'm going to go from scratch and we'll customize it a little bit as we go along. So we're going to concentrate on the ServiceNow to Jira first, and then we will try to scale it to ADO if we have time. Right, so to get started with it, I am in the X8 app. Now, the only step that I've skipped is setting up a workspace, which is simply just a aggregation of connections, right? So I've already got my workspace set up. Right, so we would start by creating a new connection. I will name my system Snow, and I'll place the URL in. Now, here X8 is asking me to validate that I am an authenticated user with the platform. So for that, I could provide OAuth or my username and password, and I'm going to go with my username and password. Let me just copy it. And what X8 does at this stage is then it goes and validates whether the credentials provided are correct or not. And now what I've done is I've added the ServiceNow system into X8. It's authenticated, and I'm good to go from here. Right, so now the other system. Now let's talk about Jira. So for Jira, again, I'll do exactly the same thing. I'll copy the base URL. I'll come into my instance and place that. But for Jira, the authentication is based on OAuth, right? So I click on connect with Jira Cloud. And what this should do is it should hit the Atlassian API and kind of authenticate me against that. So this is the Atlassian site. I will just add my site to it, and I will click accept to do the authentication. Now, once this step completes as well, I have both my systems authenticated within X8. So X8 is now aware that I am an authenticated user on both platforms. So system 1 is set up, system 2 is set up. We hit next. You can name your connection. I'm just going to call it, if I can spell correctly, of course, and we'll hit next. Right, you can review the screen. I won't take you through it. It's okay. And at this point, X8 goes, registers both the systems, and creates a bidirectional bridge between the two systems. So once this step completes, you already have a working connection that is bidirectional between the two systems, right? As simple as that. So the next step is to continue to the configuration, where I only have one setting to make, which is obvious, I think. You need to choose a target project within Jira where the incoming incidents would land into. I hope this is clear. So when ServiceNow sends traffic to Jira, which project essentially in Jira should I park those issues into? Now, on the UI itself, you are limited to selecting one project only. But if your use case demands that it's a multitude of projects, that can be done via the scripting approach, which I'll show you shortly. Right, and we'll hit build and continue. So again, our connection is fully configured, and I can already start to sync. And actually, without editing anything, I would kind of want to show you what works out of the box, right? So X8 is asking me for an incident number that I want to send across to the Jira side. All right, so let's come into ServiceNow and let's set up an incident very, very quickly. So we'll start with the bare bones, and then we'll slowly build it up as we go along to mimic or get close to at least a real integration. All right, so we'll just say test ticket, and we'll put something. Right, so the incident is created on ServiceNow. Now, this is the piece I was referring to. Usually for the MSPs, this would be automatically created via some alerting mechanisms that would be in place. I copy the incident number, I come into X8, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually sync this over to the other side. Now, don't be put off by the manual step at all. We're right now building the integration, testing it, so manual makes sense, but we will automate this very, very shortly. Now, what happens at the end of this is that there's a Jira ticket created, and you have a link to it right here. And once I click on it, I will land into the test ticket that has been created on the Jira side. I'm just going to move it here for clarity. Right. So as I said, that bidirectional bridge is already in place without any configuration. Let's take a look. So let's say we make a couple of changes. Let's say we add a comment to our Jira issue, and let's say we fix the description by saying this is a proper description here. So right now I've made two changes to my Jira ticket, which is how's it going and a proper description. And what I expect the integration to now do is take that back pretty much in real time to my ServiceNow incident. And sure enough, by the time I landed back, the description is updated and my comment is also there. And this should work bidirectionally. So if I add an internal note in ServiceNow, and let's say a public one, please don't mind my spelling. So I've added an internal and a public one, and by default, both of them should arrive on the Jira side, right? Now, I hear you saying, yes, internal ones should not go anywhere, but remember this, we're going to get to this in the configuration stage. Right, so the internal one has arrived, and yeah, the external one would be on its way as well. I'm sure it'll arrive as well. Right, so you see like how within less than 5 minutes, you're able to set up a working bridge across the two platforms already, right? There's a lot of work that is still needed there. I totally appreciate it. We need to do custom fields. We need to do status things. We need to do all that sort of stuff. But let's see how easy or difficult it would be to set up all that. Yeah, that was horrible spelling indeed. All right, so let's start with something simple. So let's say you have a couple of custom fields out here in Jira, which are remote number and remote link. I think they're obvious. You need to have the ServiceNow information in there. Now, how do you go about populating this? So for that, I'm going to come back to my connection. And the connection has a direction always. So this is ServiceNow to Jira, and I can just click this button to flip the direction, right? When you're going from Jira to ServiceNow. So right now, my target system is Jira. I want to populate those custom fields essentially, right? So I'm going to come in and I'm going to edit the scripts a little bit. Now, the scripts are there. So the outgoing, once they load, yeah. So the outgoing script basically dictates what data leaves ServiceNow. And the incoming script dictates how that data is consumed on the Jira end, right? So for now, yeah, you can very well write the code if you want, but you can also use Aida, our helpful AI assistant, which I am going to use actually. So I'm going to say populate custom fields remote num. Yeah, it is AI. I've got to spell it correctly, and remote link with key and issue URL from the other site. I've given it a very basic sort of a prompt to populate a couple of custom fields, and hopefully it comes up with something which is close to what we need. We'll give it a minute. Okay, Ada is being not playing ball with me right now. There we go. So this is how the flow is going to be. It's going to recommend some scripts to you. You can either discard them or insert them, and then you can manually review. Of course, that line looks absolutely.
There's an M missing, yeah.
Yes, indeed. And that's probably me, right? Like, yeah. So my prompt was the problem. And the other change I'll make is just this. All right. Once you're satisfied with the script, you save it, of course. And now, in order to test it, there are two ways to do it. Obviously, you can update a ticket and then see the fields populating on the other side. But let's do it in a better way. Let's do a test run. Now, what a test run does is it does this dry run where it runs your script against the actual incident, right? And it could not set property. Oh, this is a very good example, right? So I ran into an error on the Jira side where it says cannot set property value on a null object, which probably means I made a mistake somewhere. So replica dot, yeah, again, my spelling of link was not correct, right? So it was remote link. I've got to concentrate on spellings now. All right, we'll do a test run again. But this is a great example of how the test run kind of saved you from firstly updating a ticket, seeing the data on the other side, and the error handling cycle is just being reduced to a few seconds now. Okay, so I see the payload of my Jira issue on the other side. I see the remote number field. I see that the incident number is already populated. I'm fairly happy with where we are. I publish it. And now we do a real test to see whether this works or not. So adding a comment on the ServiceNow side would mean that a transaction goes over to the Jira side, of course, but this time, of course, I expect these fields to populate along with the comment, of course, right? So the comment would arrive, but the main thing was that you got the incident number and this. And hopefully things are clear, right? So you make this scripting change once, and now it's part of your configuration. Any further incidents that go over will kind of use this configuration to do this. Let's add one more example to this. So let's do a status mapping, right? Again, these things are very, very common in integrations where both systems have different data sets. So could be statuses, could be priorities, could be anything. So here I have a simple workflow to do in progress done. Whereas in ServiceNow, I probably have something quite different. Okay, in progress is common, but the rest is quite different. So again, I will go to my friend Aida and I will ask her, him, I don't know, we'll ask her to create a status mapping which maps, let's say, new, in progress, and resolved to do, in progress, and done. Again, I hope the prompt kind of makes sense to you. What I've asked for is that if the source system is sending these three values, new, in progress, and resolved, I want my system, the Jira system, to change to the relevant state, to do, in progress, or done, right? And if done correctly, this should add. Cool. So let's take a look at what it's added. So it's added a mapping new to do, in progress with a typo. Again, me, not the AI, and resolved to done. And again, I think I'm fairly satisfied with where I am. The only thing I would change is this, actually. And this would make sense because on the left side, you see that ServiceNow is sending out replica.state, right? Not status. So we would add replica.state. Again, you could go through the cycle of doing a test run and then testing how it goes, and we'll publish it. Right. So to test it again, we'll add something again to the comment. Actually, not, we didn't mean the comment. We needed the status, really. Right. So we've changed the ServiceNow state to in progress. And the idea is that the Jira state should now also change to in progress as per the mapping. And then we can go to resolved as well. And this is how you can do a status dance between the two systems as well. Very, very, very important, right? So when a new ticket comes in, whose responsibility is it? You've got to align statuses as per that. And then when the issue is resolved on one system, it needs to be resolved on the other side as well. All right, so we go to in progress, and I'm sure if we go to resolved out here, this will also take us to the done status in Jira, because Jira did not have a resolved in my workflow, so it just had a done. So it should now take it to a done. So I hope you see that you can quickly add value to the integration itself by just aligning your custom fields, aligning your priorities, statuses, whatever different data sets you have. And yeah, AI is a great lifesaver in that sort of regard. Now,
And this is the same, sorry, Majid, to interrupt you, but this is the same AI layer that we were discussing like earlier. It's just like,
precisely.
yeah, and here is opening up like the opportunity for more business type of users to also like use it, or as we call it, citizen integrators. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
indeed. Indeed. So my prompts might have come across a little bit technical because, yeah, I use the system every day. But yeah, that's what it is, right? It opens it up totally for business users with at least the appreciation of these two disconnected systems talking to each other. As long as you respect that dynamic, then this AI is like a very good plug into building the integration. And this is where we're going with it as Exhalate the product, right? We want to get away from the scripts totally, and very soon in the near future, you will just be talking to an AI bot, setting up your requirements, and then the bot just delivers the integration and tells you to go and test it out. You can still go into the scripts, but yeah, you don't really need to.
Yeah.
Right. The next thing I want to do is I want to set up the automation. Now, some of you might have noticed that initially when I started, I had to plug in an incident number, click a button, and then the ticket went over, right? So I want to automate that part, right? Now, you could automate it based on anything. any field or any combination of fields within ServiceNow, I'm going to use the assignment group, right? So how to do it? Very, very easy. So I will set up a filter within ServiceNow itself, nothing to do with Xlate at this stage, at least. And we'll set up a filter on assignment group. So we'll say that if the assignment group is, let's say, database, it could be anything, right? It's just an example. But let's say the assignment group is database, then I want this ticket to be sent over to the Jira side. I simply copy the query. I'll come into Xlate and we'll create a trigger which adds an automation to this. I've literally not done anything, right? I've just copy pasted the statement within the trigger and we'll publish it. Now, the end result of this is going to be that as soon as a ticket is created with the assignment group database, it lands in the Jira portal, right? I'll show you this in a minute. We'll leave Jira for now for a second, and let's go to list. Yeah, I think let's leave it here because the next ticket I create should land here automatically. I want to switch gears for a couple of minutes to Azure, right? So now the MSP has a full-blown integration running with Jira. Again, how difficult or how easy it is to scale this to another client, right? Let's take a look. I'll copy the base URL again. So where would we start from? What do you think? We would start from our workspace where we already had one connection, kind of visually shows you that ServiceNow is connected to Jira. We'll add another one. But this time, I don't need to register again my ServiceNow. It's already there. Xlate already knows that I'm a authenticated user. But yes, I would need to add the Azure DevOps system for sure. And for that, again, it is asking me for authentication. It needs a personal access token. Again, let me grab that. And again, it's a one-time thing. Once it's authenticated, we're good to set up the connection. So this time we'll set up the Snow to ADO and we'll add the webinar at the end of it. How am I spelling today? The review screen. And all right, again, at the end of this step, I will be asked to choose a project in Azure DevOps. Done. That's it. You're set up already. And I'll choose a project and we're good to go, right? But in the interest of time, before I show you, like, again, I would have shown you like the same cycle of creating an incident, it landing over, and then let's do it in a little bit more advanced way. So let's say that we add a trigger already from ServiceNow to ADO. And this time we say that we want tickets that belong to an assignment group, anything else, let's say networks. So I hope this is making sense. The database tickets will land in Jira and the network tickets will land in Azure DevOps, right? It's a rudimentary example. This could be a combination of any number of fields you would want, but okay, let's copy this and let's set this up. Let's activate it. All right, so we publish the connection. And now what I want to do is, I think you would have guessed, I want to create two incidents, one with database and one with networks. And we want to see how it lands in the two systems. So let me quickly create. Should land in Jira. And the only trigger is that it has to be the assignment group database, right? I'll leave it. I won't save it at the moment. And I'll switch to the other screen. And now I will create another incident, which would be for networks. Why is it pre-populated? I think I used the filter and that's why it's pre-populated. Yes, we're good here. All right, so let's now create them. I'll save this one and I've saved this one. Now, what I expect to happen is that in my target project, this ticket should be created within my target project. Oh, it was faster than I was, right? So it's already there. I tried to navigate fast to get there. So, okay, so this was the ticket that should have landed in ADO and it did land in ADO. And on the Jira side, let's refresh. Yeah, and this one that should have landed in Jira has landed in Jira. And of course, that bidirectional bridge is totally there. So if I say hello from Jira and we say hello from Azure. All this should land on the correct incident, no cross-contamination, no problems. The Jira comment should land on the incident corresponding to Jira, and the Azure comment should land into the relevant incident, right? And really, you scale from that, right? You have another system coming in, you have a fresh service client coming in, you plug that into the network, and yeah, away you go.